has there been anything you've been able to identify? And if this is just your personal speculations or understandings, that's okay, as long as you tell us that this is just kind of what you're thinking. Is there anything going on societally over the last 10 years that you think is stimulating this type of activism? Or do you think that there's been more or less the same underlying level of these ideas in society, but the internet is sort of providing a forum for individuals to come together?
Well, this is only my opinion. I don't have any real data to back it up, but I'd say a couple of things. This obviously is related in some grand way to the changing roles of men and women in society. But of course, the feminist movement, I mean, it was 100 years ago, women got the right to vote. And the feminist movement was biggest, I think, in the 70s and 80s, and I suppose into the 90s. So in one way, we might think, well, this is all, ought to be past all of this. But let me say, first of all, that the real violence directed against women began, in a sense, in 1989 at an engineering school in Montreal, where a particular guy, Marc Le Pen, murdered, if I remember, 16 women, lined them up in a classroom and murdered them because they were engineers. They were the first engineering class at that university that had accepted women. And Le Pen wrote explicitly about how feminists have destroyed my life and now I'm going to destroy their lives. Since then, we've seen a series of massacres, mass murders directed at women. The latest, of course, was last May in Santa Barbara, California, when a young guy named Elliot Rodger went on a rampage and murdered 6 people before killing himself. And this was all because, as he said, he was still a virgin at 22. He felt that beautiful blonde women owed him sex, and so on and so on and so on. He left a manifesto, kind of video manifesto. So what I'm saying is that, yes, there has been this underlying, really rage-filled reaction towards women for a good 30 years or so now. At the same time, I do think it's come to the fore. I don't know if it's worse now, but it's come more to the fore because I think we're at a time of huge social change in many ways. The country is becoming rapidly less white. Things like same-sex marriage had advanced at really a kind of dizzying pace, I think, no matter where you are politically. I mean, 10 years ago, attitudes about same-sex marriage were wildly different than they are today, when an easy majority of Americans think there's no problem with that. So I just think there are a lot of demographic and cultural and sociological changes happening, and there are people out there, who are angry. This is not the country their forefathers built, the country they grew up in, and so on. And I think there's something to the point that you made too, which is that obviously the internet makes it much easier to see these people. You might not know their actual names, but you just see all this rage out there. It's brought them together. And people like Paul Elam have created a more or less organized movement, if an internet-based movement. And so that has increasingly attracted people who might not have been posting or talking about this stuff openly.